people have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell. By 2008, we knew that Epstein was a convicted sexual abuser. And we now know that Lutnick went to Epstein's Island in 2012. How was that not a deal breaker for the president? And why aren't you asking questions of the Commerce Secretary about what he saw when he was at the island, which he lied about not ever going to?
I was curious if you, Congresswoman, asked Bill Clinton that. Didn't see one tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was.
Weak sauce.
And also, I want the record to reflect that, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh,
He's Jewish. I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust? Really?
The committee will be in order.
Fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history. An attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try, Congresswoman Crockett, to ask any questions, because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein was convicted. Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done. Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I reclaim my time, it is.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman is reclaiming
I'm
the time.
not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentle lady. The gentle lady has 17 seconds.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many of you invited?
Again, the time belongs.
Reclaiming my time.
The time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
Reclaiming my time.
I think it's very interesting.
You can
when
reclaim
he
your
talks
time.
about they indicted, the president said they indicted him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock and stop the clock and restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The witness gets to answer. You may not like the answer, but she gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein?
They don't like the answer, Chairman,
Reclaiming my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming-
So he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute question.
Restore 45
and
seconds,
I am
Mr. Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way.
Reclaiming-
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
Will you create my time?
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700, and we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get. You're a failed politician.
Reclaiming my time. Holy smokes. I'll say this for the Trump folks. They make for great TV. We all know congressional hearings have become theatrics for the sake of social media, but holy smokes, I didn't know what to cut out. It was like 3 hours of that. It's distracting from the true investigation, if you ask me. Listen.
A Republican Tennessee congressman is now demanding an investigation into the Super Bowl halftime show featuring Bad Bunny. The lawmaker accusing the nationally televised performance of featuring explicit and indecent language.
Republican Representative Andy Ogles, who represents Tennessee's 5th congressional district, formally making the demand on Monday following Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show, which millions of people tuned in to watch. In this letter right here to the Committee on Energy and Commerce, Ogles arguing the performance violated standards for appropriate content on broadcast TV, particularly during an event watched by both families and children. The congressman requesting an investigation be launched into the NFL and NBC for their prior knowledge, approval, and facilitation of the show. Fellow GOP Congressman Mark Alford also hinting at a possible congressional investigation.
We are still investigating this. There's a lot of information that has come out about the lyrics. We have a lot of questions for the entities that broadcast this, and we'll be talking with Brendan Carr from the SEC about this.
You're doggone right. You're doggone right. We need an investigation. Not the language. We need an investigation into the dancing. Are all Latin American people born able to dance? I have lived half my life, and there are two things I have never seen: a baby pigeon and a Latin American who can't dance. I've seen it rain on a sunny day. I've seen a Jewish Santa Claus. I've seen a kangaroo drive a car. I have yet to see a Latinx person who can't dance. We need an investigation into that. Are they all born with the ability, or is there a secret underground dance school teaching them? Don't act like I'm the only one asking this. We need to know. I want to know how to dance like that. It's not fair we're losing the country. Come on, get serious. Cut it out. This is a serious topic. And as I said, the Pam Bondi hearing was a hot mess. Yes, she did not answer questions, but there were not a whole lot of questions sent her way from the Democrats. Mostly Democrats use their time to read a prepared statement. Then they throw out a few loaded questions like, aren't you ashamed of yourself, Pam Bondi? Or turn and apologize to the survivors. Who's going to do that? Come on. Seriously, who's going to do that? Republicans do the same thing when it's flipped around the other way. They come in with, all the anger and ferocity, start screaming at Democratic officials. And so it was the Democrats' turn to do that, and the Republicans' turn to sit there and say, oh, thank you so much, Attorney General Pam Bondi. Thank you for being here. Well, let me ask you this question. How come you're so awesome? How come Trump is so awesome? That's what these hearings have devolved into. We know that. Let's not waste time pretending that it's not. With the exception of, for the most part, Thomas Massie. He the one Republican everyone is giving credit for going up against his own party on Epstein. And I did see he was the only one to acknowledge this scandal spans many administrations. Obama, Trump 1, Biden, now Trump 2. If you look at the time frame of Jeffrey Epstein's deeds, it expands years. And I can't tell you why that is. I can't tell you why it has seemed that no one is really all that interested in taking this on. This is, right now, it's clearly a slow-walking, distracting, half-hearted, disinterested effort being made by people who spent 4 years saying, oh, just get us in the office. When Biden was office, oh, just get us in the office and watch us blow the lid off this Epstein thing. I heard them. I listened to it. Now it's, hey, listen, why do you want to know? Nothing to see here. And I'll give just a little consideration to the fact that, yes, you can't just demand that because someone knew Jeffrey Epstein, their name should be released on a list below former Prince Andrew or Ghislaine Maxwell. You can't lump everybody into the same pool because there are going to be assumptions of guilt made there. So there has to be at least some evidence of wrongdoing to just throw someone's name out there. I will give that consideration. And we can also never rule out subterfuge, false information being presented to take someone down. I mean, listen, in this world that we are living in right now with AI and everything else, can you really rule that out? And just one other thing before I get to some current names that have been outed and all this, why does it seem that just Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in jail with a 65-year sentence? Why does it seem like she seems to think that she has bargaining power? She's saying, I'll talk if you, commute my sentence or something. I don't know what she's asking for, but they bring her in to question her. It doesn't appear she ever really gives any information. So why does it seem like she thinks she has some sort of bargaining power? Wouldn't you think she would be saying, look, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Just let me spend the rest of my life in a minimum security jail or prison. I mean, there should be no thoughts of ever getting out of jail anytime soon in the next 20 or 30 years. So she should just be looking for, hey, look, just put me somewhere nicer, and I'll give you all the information you want to know if there is information to give. So it says to me, maybe, just maybe, she has nothing of value to offer law enforcement. And let me be clear, nothing of value to law enforcement. In other words, no big name targets. The victims don't care about big names. They just want justice. So either she doesn't have anything to offer law enforcement to get law enforcement excited enough to cut a deal, or she doesn't want to get Epsteined in her cell. She doesn't want to wake up one night and realize she hung herself. You understand what I'm saying? It's just curious to me. It would appear you have all the information about Epstein you need sitting in a jail cell and you can't get it. It's curious to me. I'm sure it's curious to other people. Anyway, reading now. The Justice Department's release of over 3 million pages of Jeffrey Epstein-related documents has led to a fresh wave of backlash for people associated with the pedophile financier who died in jail in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. Excuse me. So up to now, the biggest names to face consequences have been former Prince Andrew, stripped of his British royal title, and Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton from 1999 to 2001, and Obama's Director of National Economic Council. He lost his teaching job at Harvard and a post on the board of OpenAI. That's Larry Summers. So more recent names that have come out since more files have been released are Kathy Rumler, I guess you pronounce it, a Goldman Sachs top lawyer turned in her resignation following weeks of scrutiny over her communications with convicted sex offender. The DOJ's latest tranche of documents show her offering Epstein advice on his legal troubles, including lawsuits brought by women accusing him of sexual abuse. She gussed over expensive gifts from him, including a $9,300 Hermes bag, and referred to him in an email as Uncle Jeffrey. Ew. Brad Karp. Everybody knows who that is. The documents include emails showing he worked with Epstein to surveil a woman in a dispute with one of Karp's clients. Business Insider has confirmed the client was billionaire private equity titan Leon Black, who counted Epstein among his advisors. Howard Lutnick. That's the one everyone at the hearing wanted to talk about. That is the current U.S. Commerce Secretary. He's facing bipartisan calls from lawmakers to resign after emails show he planned a visit to Epstein's island with his family in 2012. Lutnick previously said he severed ties with Epstein, his former Manhattan neighbor, after first meeting him in 2005. Quote from Lutnick, "My wife and I decided I will never be in a room with that disgusting person ever again." Lutnick was called by Congress to answer for the discrepancy. He testified that he, his wife, and kids were at the island for an hour for lunch. The White House has stood by Lutnick with the Commerce Department saying Mr. and Mrs. Lutnick met Jeffrey Epstein in 2005 and had very limited interactions with him over the next 14 years. Steve Tisch. In 2013, Tisch, owner of the New York Giants, exchanged numerous emails with Epstein about women, triggering a review by the National Football League. The emails show Epstein updating Tisch on the women, including their ages, nationalities, and, in quotes, working girl status. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has said the league will review the communications and weigh whether they violate its personal conduct policies. It does. Sarah Ferguson, a charity chaired by Ferguson, the ex-wife of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, Prince Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew, shuttered following the Justice Department's document dump. A spokesperson for the foundation called Sarah's Trust said the decision was made at the month's discussion. The records show Ferguson sent warm emails to Epstein in 2009 when he was imprisoned for soliciting sex from a minor. She referred to him as the brother I have always wished for and signed off another email with "love you." Ferguson previously said she regretted any association with Epstein. A lot of people got regret. A lot of people. Peter Mandelson. Mandelson quit his job as the United Kingdom's ambassador to the United States and left the British Labour. This is UK. It's a big deal in UK. We don't care. We don't care here. But this guy's accused of leaking financial information to Epstein and all sorts of sensitive government information. Morgan McSweeney, another British guy, he's out of a job because he recommended somebody for a job. He basically recommended Mandelson for his job as an ambassador, so now he's out. And the last couple, Casey Wasserman, I guess this guy has an agency. So you got a couple people, Abby Wambach, soccer player, Chappell Roan, singer. They say they're parting ways with the agency. It appears this Wasserman guy exchanged flirtatious emails with Ghislaine Maxwell. Wasserman said in a statement he regretted his messages with Maxwell, which took place long before her horrific crimes came to light. And last guy, Peter Attia, the CBS News contributor and longevity expert, stepped down as chief science officer of some protein bar company. Says here he exchanged crude remarks about women in an email with Epstein. In a social media post, he denied involvement in any criminal activity and said the emails were embarrassing, tasteless, and indefensible. So there you go. That's 6, 7, 8 names, I guess. I don't know how many. I think maybe it was 7 names that have come up from the document dump, all these millions of pages of the quote-unquote Epstein files. And for the most part, you don't know who the heck they are. So this is kind of what I mean when I question people's real motives to get justice for the victims. The names that came up over and over in the hearing were, of course, Lutnick, because he's the current Treasury Secretary, and Trump. Every single person wanted to question, Trump's name sure is in these documents. A whole lot of times, Trump's name is there. But clearly, there are people who seem more guilty. I mean, getting emails that say a person's working girl status, I mean, that seems kind of, a little shady there. But I don't know that anyone in that hearing asked any questions about Steve Tisch, the owner of the New York Giants. You got a woman who worked for Goldman Sachs who was defending Jeffrey Epstein, giving him legal advice. Now, there's nothing, illegal about offering legal advice, but he's given her gifts. She's given him legal advice. So in other words, she kind of knows what he's up to. She knows exactly what he's up to if she's giving him legal advice. I'd have some questions about that. I mean, was she formerly his lawyer? If you're formerly someone's defense lawyer, then okay. But if you're just somebody who he's given gifts in exchange, you're saying, hey, this is what you need to do to stay out of trouble, I would have questions about that. They all regret communicating with Epstein after the fact, but no one seems to regret not reporting what they knew. That's what's lost here. To me, everyone has an excuse or an alibi or regret, but no one asked and no one answered, why did you not do anything to report this guy? Why were reports of abuse, of lawsuits against this guy seemingly ignored? Why would you represent or do business with a man you knew was up to this behavior? And I'm just kind of realizing, as I'm saying this, I'm asking a rhetorical question because of money. They did it for money and influence. I mean, who are we kidding? And with the exception of not getting to be called Prince or resigning from a job, what's the punishment? What's the punishment for any of these people? They're not even outed in a televised congressional hearing. I mean, I'm reading it to you here on this podcast, and it was in an article from AP. I believe this article was. Maybe not AP. I don't remember where this article was from. But, I mean, I don't. Who's going to know Peter Attia? Who's going to know Casey Wasserman? Who's going to know Morgan McSweeney? Or even Steve Tisch? Who's going to know Kathy Rumler had anything to do with this scandal? And that's the problem. People should know. Their names shouldn't be swept under the rug because they're not big enough. They're not juicy enough. It can't be politicized enough. That's not justice for the victims. At the end of the article, they have some pictures that you can scroll through. It's Ghislaine Maxwell with Chris Tucker, the actor. You know Chris Tucker from the Jackie Chan movies. I mean, he's standing there with her, kind of arm around each other. It appears getting ready to get on the plane. So you can make a lot of supposition out of that. I mean, I don't know if it was innocent or who knows. But that's a picture that's come out of these files. You got a picture of Epstein and Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson does not look good in that picture. I don't know what was going on with Michael Jackson there. He looked like he's wearing like that kabuki type makeup. Very strange. You got a picture of Kevin Spacey next to Bill Clinton and Ghislaine Maxwell and some other people. You got a picture of Epstein and Richard Branson, the billionaire tycoon guy. You got a picture at a table, sitting at a table. It's Epstein next to Mick Jagger, next to Bill Clinton. So, interesting. And you got a picture of Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein wearing what, if I did a different kind of podcast, I would say look like silk pajamas. What looks on their faces like they're about to get down to some serious freaky business. So I don't know where that picture was from. I mean, you see that picture and you could easily start drawing some conclusions if you wanted to. But let's not play games. Let me not waste your valuable time. Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender in 2008. He pled guilty in a deal to stay out of jail in 2008. He was a registered sex offender. In 2011, a New York judge ruled he needs to be a registered level 3 high-risk sex offender for life. I'll repeat that. In 2011, a New York judge ruled he needs to be a registered level 3 high-risk sex offender for the rest of his life under Megan's Law. Guess who signed Megan's Law? President Bill Clinton in 1996. So we got a registered sex offender convicted of soliciting sex from an underage girl, and everybody knows. But he goes on living his life like he's any other person. He's any other multi-millionaire, billionaire, what the heck ever he was. He lives his life above the law for years. This is the same pattern I've talked about so many times before on this podcast. Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, P. Pissy, P. Puddle, P. Diddy. P. Diddy, years of abuse everyone knew about. And the entertainment industry wants to act outraged about this? I mean, suffering succotash. Heidi Fleiss was nicknamed the Hollywood Madam, for goodness sake, and she went to jail for a couple of years for tax evasion. Not prostitution, tax evasion. The Hollywood Madam, who prostituted women out to all sorts of big-name celebrities. Politicians from either party want to act outraged about this? Take a look at this article from PBS from March of 2025. And don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying they want to get outraged about, not that there's nothing to be outraged about. There's plenty to be outraged about. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, what took you so long? That's what I'm saying. This article, the article is entitled 147 Lawmakers in 44 States Accused of Sexual Harassment or Misconduct Since 2017. Reading from the article. Virginia lawmaker Jackie Glass said she got a safety brief when she joined the legislature. I was told who not to go drink with, who not to be alone with, and who to just watch out for. She said on the State House floor in 2024, the Democrat was discussing a pervasive culture of sexual misconduct in the State House, something that remains despite the Me Too movement hitting critical mass in 2017. The movement toppled politicians, celebrities, and others across the country. Allegations of harassment and misconduct, some from many years prior, came to light, highlighting a toxic culture where such behavior was perhaps as rampant and accepted as the silence that buried it. Since 2017, the Associated Press has cataloged at least 147 state lawmakers across 44 states. I wonder who the six were that, I guess either were clean or didn't get caught. Probably just didn't get caught. 44 states who have been accused of sexual harassment or misconduct. Over a third resigned or were expelled from office, and roughly another third face repercussions such as losing party or committee leadership positions. A dozen top state executive officials, including governors and attorney generals, also faced sexual misconduct allegations during that time, and most resigned. According to the National Women's Defense League, which advocates for sexual harassment policies in state houses and keeps its own count, Republicans and Democrats are nearly equal in being accused, and 94% of those overall are men. How is this possible? How is this even possible after Me Too? After the Me Too movement, it's like things got worse, at least in state governments. I'll tell you how. Because people in power are above the law, and people in power only care about victims if it benefits them. So you got the people in power who are doing the dirt, and then you got the people in power who are supposed to stop the people from doing the dirt, but they only get worked up to stop the people who are doing the dirt if it benefits them. Only if it benefits them politically. That's why. Sure, there will always be exceptions. There will always be people who truly care and are truly fighting for justice for victims of abuse. But I'm sorry, when the same patterns keep happening over and over and over again everywhere, in the business world, in the sports world, in the entertainment world, in government, everywhere, same pattern. I had no choice but to ask, what took you so long? What took you so long to get to the point to where you're demanding answers about Jeffrey Epstein? What took so long? For years, MAGA was demanding answers. Well, like I said, wait till we get there. And the Democrats weren't really interested in talking about it. Then Trump got elected, and all of a sudden MAGA was like, never mind. Never mind about Epstein. How about that stock market? And the Democrats are the ones determined now to get to the truth. But unfortunately, it would appear to me for the victims, they only want the truth if it benefits them politically. If it's the big, political, advantageous, big name haymaker for the Trump administration. That's the truth they want. Here, I'll prove it to you. This is from the charging indictment of Epstein from 2019. All right? When Epstein was arrested in 2019, this is from the charging indictment. It starts out, Southern District of New York, it says the names, assistant director, blah, 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 blah. Announced that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested Saturday and charged with sex trafficking of minors and conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minors. The indictment, unsealed today, alleges that between 2002 through 2005, Epstein sexually exploited and abused dozens of underage girls by enticing them to engage in sex acts with him in exchange for money. Epstein allegedly worked with several employees and associates to ensure that he had a steady supply of minor victims to abuse, and paid several of those victims themselves to recruit other underage girls to engage in similar sex acts for money. He committed these offenses in locations including New York and Palm Beach, Florida. It goes on, blah, 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 U.S. Judge Richard Brand, blah, blah. Let me read that again. Epstein allegedly worked with several employees and associates to ensure that he had a steady supply of minor victims to abuse, and paid several of those victims themselves to recruit other underage girls to engage in similar sex acts for money. Who are the several employees? Who are the associates? Besides Maxwell, has anyone else been arrested or charged since 2019? And this is a little touchy, but how do you handle the victims who took money to entice other victims? How the heck do you handle that? I mean, this is as sleazy can get. And everyone from Trump to Clinton to British royalty to entertainers to politicians to Wall Street to corporate interests, they all got sleaze all over them. Anyone in this guy's orbit from probably 1994. But at the very least, from 2008, when he pled guilty, everyone knew, as everyone always does, this ain't a victimless crime. They just can't make up a number. In 2019, they knew there were dozens of victims. It was in the charging documents. So in order for them to say there were dozens of victims, they must have talked to dozens of victims. Now we think there may have been hundreds of victims over decades. Victim of stuff ranging from downright illegal to super duper creepy and inappropriate. And our government for the past 18 years since Epstein has pled guilty in 2008, Our government has seen to spend more time protecting kids from hearing the F word than actually getting F'd. Whatever happened to you? You see something, you say something. Whatever happened to that? You see something, you say something, or you can be charged. Let's stop with the people who know, after the fact, I regret. After the fact, I regret associating with that person. How about you regret sitting in jail because you didn't speak up? How about you regret that? Stop reporting on the abuse like it's a late night sex talk hotline media. The media knows what it's doing. They know what sells. And I say that because one of the lawmakers who was assaulted in Virginia in that article about the abuse in the state houses, she talked about hearing her name. This is on the radio. She talked about hearing her name and the description of the abuse, the groping of her breast, the rubbing of her thighs. And she said it made her feel violated. And that's why some people don't want to come forward. It's embarrassing. And so there's no need for the media to get into descriptive detail of the abuse. That's for a courtroom. And last but not least, if I'm a level 3 registered sex offender, maybe someone should check on me every now and again to see if I have young girls laying around my house. A local homeowners association keeps a closer eye on the height of your bushes than law enforcement keeps on convicted sex offenders. Just a couple of suggestions for you there. Do better, media. Do better, politicians. Do better, law enforcement. I mean, what the heck? No one is above the law? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Keep telling yourself that. Plenty of people are above the law. But no one should be above morality. No one should be above ethical behavior. Talked about this before. Just because it's not illegal doesn't mean it's not wrong. We all know the difference between right and wrong. Something doesn't have to be illegal to be wrong. It seems to me true justice for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein might look more like a movement of change. A movement of change when we start recognizing just because it ain't illegal doesn't mean we should allow it. We should excuse it, the behavior. This whole boys will be boys way of thinking that we have. Maybe that's what some justice will look like. It's a change in the thinking, a change in how we're constantly needing to keep track of how many female senators there are, how many female members of Congress there are, how many female CEOs of Fortune 500 companies there are, how many female race car drivers there are, how many female head coaches in major professional sports there are. 0, I think. So maybe when the number gets above 0, when male-dominated occupations stop being male-dominated occupation, maybe then there will be a real change. And a feeling of justice will come from the change. I sure don't think it's going to come from any more congressional hearings. That's the episode. Thanks for listening. Doggone rootin' tootin'. Excuse my language. I was supposed to ask you to follow and share and rate in the beginning. People don't always make it to the end. Doggone it. Ooh, I like that. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Watch me go. Go ahead. That feels good. Happy Valentine's Day, lovers. Come on.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong. And I learned how to get along, and so you're back.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Who is this? Who is this? Havana Jazz? Is that how you say it? Javana Jazz on YouTube. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me.
Go on now, go. Walk out the door. Just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with good?
Hey, that's good. I like that. I give credit. I give credit when I like something. You give credit too.
I will survive.
You follow.
As long as I know how to love,
you rate.
I'll stay alive.
You share. You comment. Apple Podcast. Spotify. I'll see you next time.
fall apart, just trying hard to mend the pieces of my broken heart. And I spent so many nights just feeling sorry for myself. I used to cry, but now I hold my head up high and you see me, somebody new. I'm not that chained up little person still in love with you. And so you feel like dropping in and just expect me to be free. Now I'm saving all my loving for someone who's loving me. Go on now, go, walk out the door. Just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with goodbye? Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd lay down and die? Oh no, now